All right, hello everybody. Welcome to this slightly misshapen started uh, BCSD exchange for Monday, 13 July. People, we're in July. This is H2 2026. Can you believe it? And we're still alive. No thanks to what's going on internationally. But anyway, moving on. Let me welcome you all, as we always do, in the spirit of camaraderie and networkship and I don't think there's nobody who doesn't know who I am, so I don't have to worry too much about saying hi. I'm Andrew Peterson, the CEO of BCSD Australia. Let me acknowledge the traditional custodians of the countries or the country throughout Australia that we are all coming from and pay respects to elders past and present. Now, today's session is being recorded, as you heard. Please keep comments at a general level. Please do not share commercially sensitive information. Each organisation, as always, remains independent in its decisions. BCSDA is convening today's discussion and not endorsing any particular product, service, standard, or commercial opportunity. All right, today, let me quickly jump to, not that. Let me jump to that. Yes. Hopefully everybody got their issue this morning in their inbox of ESG Snapshot. Issue 139, meaning this is the 139th edition. And it's bumper, 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 can I tell you? And it's taking such a long time to put together, but that's my problem, not yours. And hopefully you are reviewing, viewing the benefits of it. As you may have learnt, we now have two versions of the newsletter. One is called the subscriber edition, and it's for non-members. So to be very clear, these people are not financial members of BCSD Australia. But if you are seeing the larger version of this called the member edition, then you are most certainly recognised in our system as a financial member. To be clear, if you are not seeing the whole of the newsletter all the way down to the very bottom with the SDGs, just drop me a note in chat and I will correct that inside the mailing list of ESG Snapshot so that you do get to see it. We think we've got everybody. It took quite a while. We're now almost nudging 1,000 subscribers, which is very exciting. But of course, there's a subset that are the actual financial members, and you get the benefit of a much richer and deeper intelligence content, which I just wanted to quickly jump through to highlight a couple of things. Firstly, always, every week, we are now then telling you what we've been doing the week before. We put this under the BCSDA Weekly Impact. So if you're never quite sure what's going on and how you might be involved, this is the best way to find out. Go into the snapshot every Monday morning. It will give you a précis of what myself and the team have been doing in the week past. And there's a link there for you to then reach out if you've got any questions about anything that's going on that you would like to be involved in. We are now putting in rich member content, and this is a call out to members to give us content, please, so that we can tell the world what's going on, or at least 1,000 people, in the above the line section in relation to what you are all doing. And this week we had a newsletter from our friends at the University of Sydney Business School Institute of Transport and Logistics Studies, and big announcement of the return of a member, which we will get to very shortly. Then we have the event section, which you've seen, and thanks to a number of you, we are now able to put in a lot of content because we've stripped out all of the descriptors. We've just put in date, title with an overlay of a link to that, and where there are speakers that are member based, then we put links via LinkedIn to your LinkedIn pages as well. So if you've got something coming up, or you have heard of something coming up that you think we should share, please let us know. And we've categorized it according to us, you, and partners. Then we've got this new section on education and training, and it's quite rich. and diverse because it has member-based information. So Sydney Executive Plus, which is the University of Sydney Business School, and their training sessions. The very new, and we'll hear about this very shortly, ZUID training session via the IFRS Foundation, but also a lot of what others are doing, our friends and colleagues at Green Building Council. I think there was a reference to, yes, that's a workshop they're doing on water resilience, and then WBCSD. And so if you come across a WBCSD link in education and training and you go into it and it says member only or for fee, drop me an email, and that's how I'll then get you the discount to that education and training platform. Then we also have all the upcoming events that we've been able to catalog and categorize from the variety of sources that we get. And we're as noble as you possibly can be because we include even UN Global Compact now. So we've got as many as we can find in any given week that's coming through, and we'll hold on to them until they have been held. So you're able to go in. So we're sort of a platform neutral. We're not just highlighting us, we're highlighting everything and everybody else as well. The big news I wanted to share, though, was, apart from what's coming up, was two sections right at the back end of the newsletter, and that we are still working on the look and the feel of it, but I wanted you to be aware of them being present if you haven't scrolled through. The first is the resources section. Now, I've long promised that we would catalogue and curate for your benefit all of the resources that we find, which we do in a thing called BCSDA AI, but we now have a database which is AI platformed that then contains all of these linked resources. So as we report them every week, so these are the ones just from this week, last week rather, then we take them. In fact, Hamza, our IT guru, takes them and he puts them into the database. And we will then be giving you from probably next week or the week after the link to the database so you can actually go and interrogate the database for anything that you're interested in. Now, it will be categorized both according to focus areas, but also more deeply information that is similar to what comes up next, which is our new standards section. So we're very conscious that everybody's looking at what these standards are that are coming through. So we've now, with the benefit of a number of different other platforms around the world, gone and curated them into one place, and we'll be doing the same thing, putting them into the resources database. So this for us for this week is the first time you've seen it, and there's 26 items there. It's huge, and it will just get bigger, but we thought that it was important for you to have one platform you can go to and find them, and in our case, we'll keep you up to date as to what the status, the dates of which they've been launched, what they are, and where to go find them. Okay, so you don't have to go looking for them anymore. If I can put it that way, you can just go to one source, one resource, and you'll be able to find them there. And as I say, we've gone and curated all the ones that we can think of at the moment that are highly relevant to members according to their particular technical areas. So in the case of, I think the top one, yes, emissions accounting. So this is just information in relation to the greenhouse gas protocol. Then there's other subheadings around net zero, impact targets, so on and so forth. And all of these filters will be put into the AI for you to go and find. Okay. The other funky thing that we've started this week, but I didn't highlight it, was, let me find, yes, was this link. So more often than not, we'll just put a link to the actual item. But from now on, we're putting a link to various topic information that we have about that issue from our intelligence platform called BCSDA. And when you click on that, it will go into our formatted platform, which is monday.com, and it will have not just the link to the item, but it will have all other content referable to that particular topic. Okay? Going back over 2 years. In some case, it will go back over 4 years. And you will be able to go scroll through, see the topic, or see the reference to the information on that topic, and then click on the source and go to the information itself. So we hope that you will find that helpful because it is raw data from newsletters, from reports, from announcements, from press releases that we've been curating for a good 3 to 4, in some cases 5 years. And we're looking to try and back catalogue over 10 years, but we thought we'd just start this. So the thing I have found so far is that by clicking it, it does take a little while for Monday.com to open. So don't be frustrated if you don't see it instantly. Just let it scroll through. It will open and it will tell you that's the topic. And it will then, you will be able to find that particular item and then all the other items associated. I think in this case, I did ALCA, and that's why I highlighted, but then I could also highlight environmental offsets. And this is one of the benefits of our AI platform. If you've got a topic you want us to track, we can actually go and track it and then put it into the newsletter. So if you've got a real interest in something, so if Marianne's doing IFS training, we can actually go and track that because we're curating content in relation to it. Okay. All right. That's enough of the snapshot, but I'll use it as the segue to welcoming back Carbon Reduction Institute, and more importantly, Rob Cawthorne. I can't remember how many years, although Rob did a recent check of the first time that he and I actually met, and he dated me, so I decided not to remember that. I think that was the best response I could give to that.
We've been in the industry a long time.
But no, it's a big welcome back to the organisation, to the membership community more broadly, and very excited that you have returned and joined. And I thought it was important for us to hear what's been going on with CRI because it's been around a while as well. So, Rob, why don't you kick us off? Remind us who you are, what CRI is, and what's changed since I think you were part of the member community of BCSD.
Well, this might put some of those dates sadly in play. So, 20 years ago, almost.
So,
So not far off to the date is when we started CRI, and not long later did I meet yourself. Um, but CRI has been busy actually over that 20 years. We've supported many organisations with carbon neutral claims, carbon accounting, and just general carbon reduction, decarbonisation works. Seeing the, I guess, gaps in the market, the issues that are there, the last sort of 4 years, we've spent a significant amount of time researching and developing a new standards, new sets of tools, and really looking at the market's needs for higher rigor and structures, better frameworks, better guidance for net zero claims and carbon claims issues such as scope 3 data issues and trying to resolve many of those issues that corporations are grappling with. And so that's been our focus, get that released. And as you know, it was released, published for the first time 2 weeks ago.
yes, very exciting.
Which has been very exciting for us. A little busy.
And because I completely forgot to do it, I was going to highlight, there we go, the very, very beautiful image. In fact, it's a moving image on your
That one, yes, yeah.
on your website. Did you
I can,
take that?
I can tell you a little bit about the imagery. So my little house in, or lovely little house in Canada is in a little village called Revelstoke, and it's on the Columbia River, and the scenery is stunning there. In fact, in front of my house is a glacier there, sadly shrinking very rapidly. So the impacts of climate change are very visible. But a friend of mine's a photographer there, so you'll see lots of our lovely photography. By using it, it creates the visual impact, but reduces, that's not so much. There's still some stock photo in there, but
Yeah.
it does reduce the overall use of AI in producing some of this, which we're looking to do. We're about to launch an AI emissions measurement and minimization usage
Yep.
for method. And so, yeah, it's all part of that process and learning with that. And so the images create a human touch. They come from my local town, so I love seeing them. And you'll see them across all of our works. Maybe if you go to the Net Zero Standard there, I think the covers are on there, but the covers for our standards, you might have to click down. Oh, yeah, Tom is the photographer who's a friend of mine. So that's a bear in a river near the house we have in Canada. So it's just a lovely touch to add.
There's a
and
bear in
makes it more
there.
humid.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay.
So,
So, what's the net zero standard design? What's the problem it's designed to solve?
a lot. So it's a holistic framework covering what we hope will make a legitimate net zero claim. It has a number of particular features and something for myself to make anything decision useful. Really, an inventory to start with needs to be complete. Without that, anything that flows from there has deficiencies in it, and that obviously leads to issues with its usefulness. So to fix that, we have the financial reconciliation approach. The inventories are reconciled against an organisation's finances. Quite simply, upstream emissions are reconciled against an organisation's expenses, and downstream emissions are, hold on, did I get the right way around for a second there? I think I may have got it, are associated with the organisation's revenue. We have a thing called the accelerated reduction timeline, which creates a reasonable basis for any claim. It forces the organisation to lock in a set of structures that they must meet each year, and it is the only allowance of usage of offsets is to fulfil the backup plan, the ART in itself, the accelerated reduction time plan. So that sets that reasonable basis. We have a supplier-specific emissions factor method. I'm going to spend a very long time if we go through the whole thing, but I'll try and do it rapidly. We have a required interventions that make sure actions are taken before offsetting. Make sure you consider things such as flight interventions. They don't stop someone from flying, but they make it to be justified before those actions are taken and
Mhm.
considered. And we have the clean alternative assessment method, and that is a mechanism to calculate the business case. It takes into account the complexity of infrastructure, but it's actually, while it's complexity or while it looks complex in its detail, it actually creates a very simple way to lay out the business case and align your technology upgrades with the IPCC pathway for 1.5 degrees.
Yeah.
And within it, then we also have our inventory structure that separates the inventory into logical components, the net zero inventory, and then a non-attributable inventory, depending on the structure of that. And it would take a little while to go through and explaining those as well. But hopefully that gives a quick overview. But we've tried to cover everything. We spent 4 years developing it, so we'd like to think we've done fairly well.
It
But
is comprehensive just from the little look that I've had. So
yeah.
that's very impressive. Well done. Um, Two things. What was I going to say? Put your email address in the chat function, please, so that if anybody wants to reach out. And a big announcement today from both of us that we're going to work on a workshop to give members a sense of what the value of the standard is. And that will probably happen somewhere at the end of Q3 2026 or the beginning of Q4. So if you are interested, just let me know let me know either by putting your name in the chat and saying, yes, please give me information about the workshop. And we will make sure that you are kept up to date and invited. It'll be available to all member categories. It's not just for the upper echelons of the membership. It's for everybody. So if you are interested, please, please, please let us know. As I say, put name through chat or please email me and I will make sure that you get invited. It will be done online, although I'm hoping that Rob and I can be physically in the same space when we do it. So if we find ourselves with some available space to do it, we will let those particularly in Sydney, who are available or want to come to Sydney to be part of it, but it will then be hybrid. So it'll be face to face plus online, unless everybody wants to do it online. It's a bit of a new approach that we're taking in relation to implementation of some really important resources and tools that are coming through on issues that you are all saying are important to you. So a big thank you, Rob. Moving on then to the importance of disclosure and reporting, and let's jump out from Australia to the great global conversation about
The world.
the the IFRS Foundation and its recent announcement, which hopefully you read. I think we put it into last week's newsletter, did we not, Marianne?
Yes, thank you very much.
That Little old Zooid from beautiful downtown Taree is now,
I'm not in Taree.
oh, wherever she is. No, she's
Tweed.
not Taree. She's
I'm in
in
the Tweed. I
Tweed.
mean,
You're
not
in
in New
the other
South
T.
Wales.
You're in the other T. Sorry.
Tweed.
Um, why did I think Taree? My godfather.
No idea.
That is weird.
They don't have a
Little
beach there, I
downtown
don't believe.
Tweed
Yes.
is the new home for, and I'm going to put it up because I was so stoked when I saw this page on the IFRS website. There it is, and saw IFRS training partner program. Yeah, okay, great. Australia Decarbonate Pty Limited. Don't know who they are, but more importantly, Zooid. So,
Yeah.
Marianne, tell us
Yeah.
more.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, look, I've actually put together, so on your instructions, I've actually pulled together a little bit more than just the IFRS training. So would you allow me to share my screen? And I'll start with, so I
Oh,
was wanting to give a little bit more of an overview of Zuid, including the IFRS training. So, um,
hang on a second.
yes. Um, so that will be wonderful. And then I'll just share my screen.
Yes.
And okay,
You should
so
have
share
share rights.
settings there. I can't share yet.
Host
You can,
tools.
oh, send a request. I need to send you a request for some
Ah,
reason. There we go.
oh, they've changed that one. That's new.
They
A
have changed it.
bit rude.
Okay. So I think I might be able to share now, yeah?
I'm hoping you can.
Yeah, alrighty. So bear with me for just a moment. I will. It's much nicer to have a
Ah,
few
there we
little
go.
slides here. Okay, so can let's have a look here. Can everyone see my screen?
We can see it in
So,
presentation in
oh,
presenters.
good, but it's not in slideshow
No, it
mode.
is. It is. Sorry,
It is in slideshow mode.
it's in
Okay.
present,
All right. No,
not
that's
in
good.
presenter.
Oh, so, yeah, look, thanks so much for the, allowing me as a member to have a little bit of a chat about the IFRS and other Zoom services. So yeah, so look, we were actually very, very excited to be nominated as one of Australia's IFRS training partners, the ISSB training partners. So it's quite so very, very proud of that. So what that actually means is, I think, quite a lot. So I'll take you through some of the other services that we have at the moment. So I'll just quickly pull it all over the shop. So this is coming through as slideshow, yeah? It's not on my screen.
No, it's coming through as we can see the back end. So just
You can see the back
press
end.
press
There we
presenter
go.
at the bottom. There you
There
go.
we
Now,
go.
now it's
There we
in
go.
front.
So here we are. Okay, so see, here we are in the Tweed Shire. And what we
Not
will
totally.
do is I can send this around if you like. It's just like
That
a
would
little
be
bit of
good. Yep.
a little bit of an intro. So based upon our three pillars: know, show, and create value. So let's actually start off with this training. So the ISSB training partner recognition is really quite big, and the reason why I do think that it's very, very important is that there is so much disparate training that is happening out there in the world of, what many are now calling sustainability reporting, which is really carbon, which is basically your climate related financial disclosure reporting. That there's not really one central source of truth as to, well, what are the expectations of, of what this, what the end product should actually look like. So the IAASB training is global in nature, so it does actually cover off the IFRS S1 and the IFRS S2 training. IFRS S1 and S2 sustainability disclosures, upon which the AASB S1 and S2 sustainability disclosures are largely based upon. So while this has got a global context, we will be including an Australian module. So we'll be working together with the AASB. So I'll be having a chat with them next week, actually, just to see how we might be able to work in together on that. And we'll have an Australian module, and it'll be really quite exciting. We've got, the module content. So what we're looking at the moment is we're looking at a primarily 2-day training session, training sessions, which will cover off 4 modules, which are things covering off topics such as introducing the ISSB standards, the scope and the conceptual foundations, running through the actual core content of the ISSB standards, which is governance and strategy, risk management, metrics and targets, and general requirements and judgments, uncertainties and errors. So there's a lot of very, very technical content there, which has been all compacted into something that will be meaningful and easy to understand. Just like with, some of you might be aware that we've actually been a GRI certified training partner since 2008. And it can be really, really quite difficult for organisations and individuals just to set aside, a really focused set of time to sit down and work out, well, what does this really mean and how can we really use these standards, whatever they are. So they'll be very, very focused standards. So, so there will be the global standard training. There will be a module on the Australian standards, which we'll work together with the AASB on. And there will also be, which is still in progress, an integrated reporting module as well, which is really quite exciting. And these will all be certified by the ISSB, which is fantastic. So one central source of truth. And you'll, as far as the Australian market goes, you'll very much be able to apply these global learnings to the local reporting requirements. Yeah. So the intent there is to translate the global standards to what is expected from the local regulatory requirements. So that's very exciting. So that's the ISSB. There's lots of other stuff that I can actually talk to you about. Was there any questions with regards to the IFRS training? What I can actually tell you right now is that I haven't scheduled them yet because I'm just waiting to have a chat with the AASB to see what the local module and the local content can look like. So we're looking at, given that we're in July, hopefully by Q4 there might be something that is ready to get off the rank.
Okay, and
I would say realistically,
all right. And let me be the Dorothy Dixie here.
Yes.
Is it for fee or for free?
It will be for fee. Yes.
Okay. But of course
it will be for fee.
You'll give a BCSDA member discount.
Yeah, of course I will. Yeah, I'll give a 10% discount. So yeah, absolutely. No, it is for fees. So and this is something that we really need to weigh up. We actually do pay some significant licensing fees for to be able to deliver these training programs, just as with the GRI as well. So whenever there are what seem to be reasonable charges for some of these workshops, there is a reason for that. We're not part of that organisation. We're licensed to deliver the training, which means that we also have to pay a pretty nice licensing fee.
Back to them.
Back to them. Exactly right. Plus participant fees. So
who do you think inside an organisation it would be most valuable for?
Yes. Okay. So this is going to be very, very interesting. It will be a fairly broad brush, I think. There will be the usual suspects, which I think should include the finance people. Definitely the finance people, your sustainability. When I say sustainability, I think that it should be across the board. I think that it should be your enviros, your social, your safety people, across the organisation. Anyone who has actually got a broader sustainability focus, such as with the GRI. But I think that this will be will be of particular interest to finance and also legal. Actually, will be there'll be targets that with the GRI training, they've come along if they've wanted to. in the past with
Yeah.
the Global Reporting Initiative training, but this has got very much a different, a different
Feel and
focus.
flavour because of its
Yeah, it
news.
really, really does. So it'll be a reasonably, newer audience for me,
Okay.
I
And
think.
and and
Yeah.
to be very clear,
Yep.
this is not IFRS slash AASB training. This is IFRS training, which
Yes,
then
that's right.
has a layer or a lens that would have to have a different conversation or an additional conversation is probably more accurate around its application to the Australian circumstance. Would that be
Yes,
right?
exactly right. So, okay, so just as a little bit of a background, this is all very new. So it was only 2 weeks ago that this was, that we were announced as a training partner. At which time we, needed to review, make sure that we understood, go through the IFRS and the ISSB processes to be accepted as a training partner.
Yep.
So we actually have there's the canned IFRS training. It's very, very good actually. I will say. So all of the presentation materials are really very, very nice and tight and lovely. So that's really fantastic. For each of the local training providers, we have to write a localized module. So I will have to write an additional Australian module. So
Okay.
what that looks like yet, whether or not that's going to be a half day or a 1 day or I'm not quite sure yet. I'm just, trying to weigh that up a little bit, and I'll have a bit of a chat with the AASB first, just
Yep.
to, not step on their toes. There is a lot of training that is actually out there to see how we might be able to complement what is actually out there at
But
this point in time,
but the,
rather than reinventing any kind of
yeah, but there is
any
relevance
model.
for localization of particular
Oh,
aspects.
always, yeah, yeah, and also we are licensed to provide training to the Australian market only. So if
Yep.
there are, yeah, so as opposed to the GRI where we are licensed to provide training across the Asia Pac region. So if there
Okay.
are, if we do hold the in-person IAASB training, if people want to come along from China, for example, and sit in the room, then that's absolutely fine. But
Yep.
online courses, we have to limit that to the Australian market.
Okay. And
Unless there
that
are so many, in which case we would just apply for a global license. So
that
then that's
does
fine
raise
too.
an interesting. Now, I don't see any New Zealand trainers yet, but it'll be interesting given their review by the what is it, XRLBL board to
Mm.
find alignment to IFRS that they may need New Zealand trainers as well.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's exactly right, and that's a very good call. So, so that's something that I, think that it would be a good idea, to have a chat with, to go back to the IAASB and see if we can have an Australian New Zealand focus,
Yep.
actually. So that would
Yep.
make a lot of sense. So yeah, so
Cut
that's the
down
most big.
cost. Cut down cost.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, that's right. So, anyway, yeah, so that is extremely exciting. So
Very
that's
good.
that's the main thing that you wanted to have a chat, me to have a chat
Yeah, I
about.
think, I
Hopefully
know,
with
I know
that.
you've got
Yeah.
other highlights, but I do think let's just limit it to today, and then we'll bring you
Yeah.
back for the next one and talk about those other elements.
Yeah.
But I am conscious that you did ask for, and we've put it in the
Yes.
EcoVadis training
Oh, Bureau
workshop.
Veritas. Oh, so the
The
Bureau
Veritas,
Veritas.
sorry, yes,
Yes,
sorry.
yes, yes, yes. We have a joint training presentation with Bureau Veritas on July the 29th, actually, and that is on, the nuts and bolts of preparing a sustainability report, and we're taking the proper sustainability, as in environmental, social,
Yep,
governance, and economic focus.
yep.
And the importance of assurance on that. So, yeah, so that is on July the 29th. Believe that it starts at 1 o'clock, and it's in the newsletter for today.
It's in today's
It's in
newsletter.
today's newsletter.
And it's
Yeah.
also on your site, I think. So if you can't
It's
find,
not on my site.
but
It's
then
not on
it's
my
definitely in our
website.
newsletter because I put it
It's
in.
definitely in, yeah, luckily, thank goodness for your newsletter, Andrew. So I
Thank you.
haven't
All
had
right.
time to put it up.
Does anybody have any questions of Marianne in relation to ISSB.
I actually do. I just congratulated you, Marianne, on the
You
chat. It's such
did.
a big deal. It's
Oh,
amazing.
thanks, Hiru.
Thanks, Hiru.
Um, I do have a question, although Andrew asked my question who the target audience is,
Oh,
but I do have a second one. So you did mention that it's a technical course compressed into 2 days.
Yeah.
So is it more focused on building awareness or moving from awareness to capability building?
Capability building, absolutely. So if I run you through, so yes, I'll actually just run you through my little cheat sheet. No, so this was actually what is included within all of this content. So, we run through in all of those modules, the purpose and, just all of the background information. But then we actually do have a look at all of the requirements underneath the IFRS standards, S1 and S2. So what are the governance requirements? What are the strategy requirements? Having a look at a closer look at climate related scenario analysis. So while we don't actually go into how to do a climate related scenario analysis, it is all about, what are the key nuts and bolts for inclusion and how to actually report on them in your IFRS S1 and S2 sustainability report, which will then have application, extremely close, 99% application to your AASB S1 and S2 sustainability, i.e. climate reporting. And yes, so nuts and bolts capability.
very good.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Hiru. If
Thank
you
you.
have any follow-up, by all means, reach out to
Oh,
Marianne.
yes, absolutely, Hiru. Well, we are in contact
Marianne,
now,
put your
so
email address in chat as usual, please.
no worries. And
And
Claire, you have a
Claire
question?
has a question.
I do. Thanks, Andrew, and thanks, Marianne. That's really good to hear that that's coming. It's much needed.
It is, isn't it?
It is. It is. Just as a sort of as a company that's absolutely at the centre of this at the moment, particularly with AASB, our report's going out in about a month. There are a number of other offerings on the market for AASB that you're probably aware of.
Yeah.
So, I would just say, well, how do you differentiate between those offerings?
Yeah.
And I think also, noting that some of the reports are starting to come through now on the Australian side.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that we're, a lot of us are really interested in is what does best practice look like actually? Because there's, particularly for the calendar year reporters, it's just been like an absolute, variety special. Yeah, there's just some that are really detailed, some that hardly say anything. And I think any commentary around, what good looks like, and obviously that's going to continue to develop, but that would be really valuable as, coming from a company that's caught up in it.
Yeah, wouldn't it just? I'll answer just a couple of things there, Claire. So this may or may not be hard to believe, but I had to also raise my eyebrows. I was on a call last week it was a big, global welcome everyone to the ISSB training as a training partner session. So it was one of those sessions. And that very same question came up, which is, well, can you provide us as trainers with what does best practice look like in terms of this reporting? And they said, no, they can't. So this is actually, I kid you not, because and they said it's too new, and being a not for profit, objective. Having that objective lens of being a standard setter rather than an actual standard setter, they were really quite reluctant even at that level to point out, well, what could a best practice look like? So I think it's going to be a case of evolving, evolution over the, group 1, group 2 and group 3 reports that actually come out. And even then, I mean, it's something that I could probably pull together a scorecard for, that's not hard for anyone to actually do, but that would be then my judgment call, as opposed to another consultant's judgment call. But, I'm pretty tough. So what could that look like?
Claire, that question was try again, Andrew. That question prompted in my mind something that I didn't explain terribly well in the explanation of this week's newsletter. We are corralling as much as we can find on reports analysis of the most recent lodged reports. So Purpose Bureau and Monash University, for example, they put out their own view in the last few days.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
EY's done theirs. Watershed came out with a webinar, I think, last week. And we've decided not to come out with our own. What we're going to do is find everybody else's and accept that the funnel will be quite large for the moment about what everybody finds, and then we will distill it. There is also there's a conversation that's been happening with WBCSD about all of the network partners doing exactly the same thing in their own jurisdictions, to then give that to WBCSD as a 2027 proposition for building best practice into reporting matters. So, because there's so much out there, and what Turkey has been doing is different to Australia, is obviously different to what other jurisdictions are doing. But it's a valid question. But as I say, we will curate and put it into the member edition of the snapshot where we find it, and we'll put it into the resources database so that you can go and look at them each time they come up. Okay.
Yep. And you know what else, just to add just a little bit more food into the thought there,
please.
Andrew and Marion, what would be really interesting, I think, would be to understand, you know, the financial or the shareholders that use these reports. What are they getting from them? What's, you know, is this moving the needle in any way? That's the way that this is all set out is about, you know, for the benefit of the users of the report. But what do the users of the report
It's
think?
all very well for the preparers to prepare, but are the users actually using it for anything?
Well,
exactly. So that would be another step out, but I think that would be, you know, if you could get on the edge of that, that would be so interesting.
Oh, that's another debate entirely, isn't it?
I won't put Kat on the hook for that, but suffice to say that NAB and AMP will be, and both of them are reporters, preparers as well as users. So that's something. Let's park that and talk about that in the next, perhaps the next one or the one after that. But that's a really good topic to highlight. Any other questions of Marianne before we move on? Conscious that we are technically over our 1:45 deadline, but I did think this one was going to go for a little bit longer anyway. If not, then let's get back on our virtual plane, because we don't emit, but get back on our virtual plane. And I would say we'd go back to Asia, but apparently Anthony Coles is actually in the house. You're actually in Australia, Mr. Coles, are you not?
Missed me by that much, Andrew. I was back for 2 weeks, and I just landed in East China a day before the typhoon.
Right.
So,
my goodness. All right.
I've been trapped inside of my apartment all weekend, and
is that right?
There's been a month of natural disasters up here, which is very relevant to the topic, I guess. So, I'm conscious of time too, so I can skip through a couple of things that I've prepared if you want to do your quick intro.
Well, I just wanted to jump straight to the context that we were going to talk about, which was two lakes. But I wanted you to also just give us a sense of, given that you have dialed in and out of Australia in the last 2 weeks, what's been your observation about progress on the ground in relation to climate tech and climate innovation, and what are you taking back to your constituency in Asia? And then, obviously this thing that's happening in September, why is it important, do you think?
Yeah, look, to be honest, my observation is there's quite a bifurcation happening. So because of Australia's addiction to its strategic defence partnerships, there's not enough deep engagement on the collaboration on the climate and carbon and nature fronts. So, and that includes finance. So I'm aware of quite a few National Foundation sponsored programs, but and I'm actually involved with quite a few of them as a contributor. but they're very shallow and they're pretty much event organisers, not outcome orientated. And I'm also quite active through my Singapore business into Southeast Asia, and there's just a lot more traction happening in that market, that region. We have this supply chains for us means to decouple from China, when in the green tech, electro tech market, it is China. So so it's a bit of a contradiction. So particularly in the area that I'm working in, which is battery materials, we're looking to invest in Australia, and got 6 countries that we're considering, and unfortunately Australia's on the bottom of that list. So personal reasons are bumping it up the top. So we're trying to make things happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, this event, as you mentioned, I attended a couple of years ago, and it's really the driving influence for what I'm doing now with my current business. And it was because I saw the impact and the commitment that China was making in its transition through carbon markets and green finance and its industrial transformation. So there's a big new environmental law which has been approved and comes into force in August. And that's sort of just a month before this event in Wuhan. Wuhan is in a province called Hubei, sort of central south of China. And it is literally underwater at the moment because it's on the Yangtze River, and plenty happening there. So, and there's, nearly 15 million people there. So, what I wanted to highlight was why it's relevant, and why I think BCSD members and relationships should consider attending. And they've introduced this new law relating to product carbon footprint, and it really takes all the things that we've just been talking about, reporting, into operational requirement. And so there's almost 200 product carbon footprints being expected in supply chains now in China, and quite a good alignment with ISOs, but there's a few tweaks as far as Chinese requirements. But it basically means that exporters from Australia need to consider having a product carbon footprint alongside their assay or anything to do with their product material information. There will be some quite, as it locks into mandatory next year, there'll be quite a bit of pushback from this out of China. And really, this conference, from my experience, not only is that the China moment, but they actually do a really good job to curate engagement for international attendance and relevance to whoever comes on the delegation. But also, there's some really cool site visits.
Yep.
This is what I learned, and what I'm doing now is a bunch of what is now, as I said, that was 2 years ago, and this new law is implementing it into this next 5-year plan. So zero carbon industrial parks, zero carbon factories, product carbon footprints, and turning the carbon markets into a financial instrument. And so there's, again, a lot of relevance for Australia. The capital flows, and particularly your financial members, I'm pretty keen to have a chat with a couple of them because they're already active in some of these dialogues that are happening with China. But there's no real traction on the outcomes and the product. So where's the, I guess, like we were talking about with best practice from IFRS, who's actually doing stuff in this area. So these are the key points I just wanted to highlight, that the rules are now law. There's going to be some demand pull from what is downstream from most of Australia's producers, but also I think tremendous opportunities for Australian service providers to contribute and participate in this. The WBCSD China team do a great job, and this particular program is very well supported by Hubei government, which runs a carbon exchange itself, and the Ministry of Ecology and Environment, which are the ones that allow new methodologies, which is all the work that I'm doing. And I think it's also interesting to see where investment is heading. And you guys probably aren't as aware, but investment from China into Australia has collapsed in the last 5 years. So it's very much a trade exposed impact to China now. Yeah, as you mentioned when we were talking about giving this briefing, just to check the interest, happy for you guys to contact me via LinkedIn, or I can follow up with you, Andrew, and we can work out whether we do a little snap poll to members. But yeah, September 15th, I did a quick check on a trip. It's $1,500 flights through Shanghai or Guangzhou or Xiamen, actually. And I think probably worth travel on the Monday and the Friday and the 2 or 3 days at the event. But very relevant for those 4 topic areas down the bottom there.
Yep.
There
So
you go.
let's close out the loop.
Yeah.
Anthony, put your email address in the chat function. If anybody is interested in one of 2 ways of engaging in this, talk directly to Anthony, because he has a line of sight to whose name I've completely forgotten in WBCSD.
Wait on, John. Yep.
Thank you.
Wait on.
And
Yep.
and CC me, because then I can confirm back to WBCSD that you are a financial member if you want to go, or if you want Anthony to attend and then give you internal briefing, then you have that separate conversation with Anthony. But yes, we did have one member, I think that in 2024, was it?
Yeah, Michael Parks from
Treasury Wine Estates, when they were a member. He went with the blessing and found it very valuable just for knowledge and for networking. So, and this one will be bigger again. So if you have interest, or you have interest in having representation for the interest, then reach out to Anthony direct, but just CC me, because then I can confirm back to WBCSD, and then they'll put you on the list. They will charge you for the event, but they'll give you the member discount as distinct from the external cost of it. All right. Thank you so much, Anthony. That was very helpful, as always, and it's always good to have that. What the heck is going on to the north of us? That's, I think, about it. We don't really have time for the QA. I was going to ask each one of the 3 of them, but a big thank you to Rob, to Marianne, and to Anthony. And thank you to all of those members who were able to join with us today. We will share the recording via YouTube, and relevant links following the session, which will also be in the YouTube description. And then we will put a copy of the recording into next Monday's newsletter as well. Please use ESG Snapshot as the companion resource and contact us directly regarding any follow-up. But for now, a big thank you for joining us, everybody. Take care, and look forward to seeing you somewhere in the future. Bye for now.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye, everyone.
Bye.